The purifying demonic lotus flame was truly ruthless in its actions. A Dousheng flame slave would self-detonate the instant it was ordered to do so. Such terrifying decisiveness was something that even the Hun clan or the Gu clan would likely find difficult to achieve. Previously on the battlefield, watching the Dousheng flame slaves charge forward with savage ferocity, Xiaoyan swiftly retreated, although his side possessed quite a number of Dousheng. When facing these monsters that felt neither pain nor exhaustion, he had no intention of recklessly charging in to block them. The other experts also hurriedly gathered together, their eyes filled with vigilance as they observed their surroundings. The moment the 10 flaming figures appeared, they swept their gazes across the area before instantly shooting toward their pre-selected targets. "Careful," Xiaoyan shouted in a low voice, perhaps because this side was the most densely gathered. As many as 3 Dousheng flame slaves rushed toward them. However, what slightly reassured Xiaoyan was that the strongest among them had only reached the late-stage 2-star Dousheng, which was not overly difficult to handle. "The late-stage 2-star Dousheng flame slave is mine," Xiaoyan said. Standing beside him, Shuna smiled faintly and added, "I'll handle the early-stage 2-star Dousheng." The great elder of the Little Pill Tower also spoke up. "Leave the last one to me. The rest of you remain cautious and watch the surroundings closely." Once the assignments were settled, Xiaoyan let out a deep shout. His figure flickered, and he directly appeared before the late-stage 2-star flame slave. Gripping his hand tightly, the heavy Xuan ruler materialized, as he viciously cleaved straight down toward the opponent's head. Facing Xiaoyan's attack, the flame slave raised its arm and blocked it head-on. Immediately after, the milky white flames covering its body seemed to gain sentience, surging violently and transforming into a gigantic beastly maw that lunged forward to devour Xiaoyan. Seeing this, Xiaoyan flashed behind the flame slave. Both palms lifted forcefully as he shouted, "Great Heaven Creation Palm." 2 pitch-black circles of light rapidly formed within his palms. With his current strength, he could fully unleash this technique with both hands after all. His cultivation had long surpassed that of the technique's original creator. The energy seals erupted, slamming violently into the flame slave's body and dimming the milky white flames surrounding it. However, such damage meant little to a creature that felt no pain. It continued its fierce assault, momentarily forcing Xiaoyan into a scramble. Yet he quickly stabilized himself and gradually regained the upper hand. Each palm strike dispersed more of the demonic flames from the flame slave's body. Clearly, once the purifying demonic lotus flame energy was completely extinguished, its combat strength would plummet drastically. The skies above the magma sea were engulfed in brutal battles. The most intense clash was undoubtedly at the center, where 7 4-star Dousheng were jointly confronting the purifying demonic lotus flame itself. No matter how powerful the demonic flame was, against such numbers and seasoned experience, it was forced into a stalemate and had to respond with extreme caution. On the periphery of the battlefield was where Xiaoyan and his companions fought. Of the 10 Dousheng flame slaves, Xiaoyan's group dealt with 3, while the remaining 7 were engaged by other experts. Although the number of people who had entered the demonic flame's space vastly exceeded these 10 flame slaves, in terms of sheer combat power, the flame slaves clearly held the advantage. After a period of fighting, it became apparent that 2 of them possessed 3-star Dousheng strength. One was restrained by the deputy hallmaster of the Hall of Souls, while the other was unstoppable, requiring 3 experts who had barely reached 2-star Dousheng to join forces just to hold it back. At this moment, there were still a few Dozun experts lingering in the sky, having survived by sheer luck. Although most of them were at peak Dozun level before a battlefield dominated by Dousheng, all they could do was flee as far away as possible. Only now did they realize how utterly foolish it had been to enter the purifying demonic lotus flame space. Yellow Springs Palm, a gigantic palm-shaped energy seal, suddenly formed in mid-air and slammed violently into a flame slave, completely dispersing the last traces of demonic flame on its body. Deprived of its energy source, the flame slave immediately slowed down, its attacks weakening drastically. Seeing this, Xiaoyan could not help but sigh inwardly. These flame slaves were not invincible after all. Recalling the soul-inscribed halo he had obtained earlier, he suddenly conceived the idea of using it to seize control. Xiaoyan flashed forward and used his soul power to inscribe a special rune onto the flame slave's forehead. As the rune penetrated into the opponent's sea of consciousness, a strange sensation arose within Xiaoyan. With a slight mental command, the flame slave before him dropped its arms and stood silently at his side like a loyal servant. So it really can be controlled. Xiaoyan's face was filled with wild joy, but he quickly calmed himself and analyzed the situation. However, this rune only provides temporary control. If the purifying demonic lotus flame regains focus, it will reclaim authority. Fortunately, it has no spare attention right now. Glancing elsewhere, Xiaoyan saw that Shuna and the Great Elder were also suppressing their opponents. The gloomy flames on their flame slaves were growing increasingly dim. Victory was only a matter of time. Seeing that everyone was still safe, Xiaoyan finally let out a sigh of relief. However, just as he was about to look away, Xiaoyan's expression suddenly changed drastically. Not far away, a flame slave erupted with blinding light as an abnormally violent energy wave spread in all directions. "Retreat immediately, it's about to self-detonate," Xiaoyan roared at Zhena. Hearing this, Yao Lao and the others were horrified. A Dosheng's self-detonation possessed enough power to annihilate heaven and earth. As everyone rapidly retreated, the flame slave's body swelled grotesquely before, exploding under countless terrified gazes. A devastating energy storm tore apart the sky and split the magma sea below, carving out a rift tens of thousands of jang long. The explosion forced everyone except those in the central battle zone to flee desperately for their lives. Even more tragic was what followed. Apart from the flame slave controlled by Xiaoyan, all the remaining flame slaves also began to glow simultaneously. Earth-shaking explosions rang out one after another, and the number of experts plummeted in an instant. Of the remaining 9 flame slaves, 6 successfully self-detonated, while 3 unfortunate ones were shredded by the explosive energy before they could even activate their detonation. Xiaoyan and the others stared blankly at the now empty sky, utterly speechless. These self-detonations made them feel as though they had just taken a walk past the gates of hell. "Everyone lend me your strength. This is the best opportunity to seal the demonic flame." Just as everyone was finally catching their breath after narrowly escaping the brink of annihilation, a thunderous shout suddenly tore through the chaos from afar, shaking the heavens themselves. A disheveled figure shot violently into the sky. His robes were tattered, his aura turbulent. Yet the pressure radiating from his body caused the surrounding space to tremble uncontrollably. It was none other than the Hall Master of the Hall of Souls. Without the slightest hesitation, he raised his hand and slammed a palm straight into the void. Boom! The sky darkened in an instant. Boundless black light surged forth as countless strange runes rapidly spread across the heavens like a massive web. In the blink of an eye, an enormous black formation materialized, blotting out the sky and exuding an oppressive, sinister aura. Layer upon layer of formation patterns intertwined, forming a vast net that descended from above, locking firmly onto the purifying demonic lotus flame below. The moment the formation took shape, the surrounding space froze as if shackled by invisible chains. Even the raging magma sea beneath seemed to calm slightly under its suppressive force. The purifying demonic lotus flame flickered violently, its flames surging upward in defiance, yet it was unmistakably restrained, its movements clearly hindered. "That is the heavenly net demon sealing formation." Juna's voice rang out sharply, her expression changing dramatically as she stared at the pitch-black formation overhead. Shock and solemnity filled her eyes. This was no ordinary formation, its name alone was enough to send chills down the spines of countless experts. The Heavenly Net Demon Sealing Formation was a legendary grand formation of the Hall of Souls, infamous for having sealed countless peerless experts and terrifying existences throughout history. Once fully activated, it could lock space, suppress energy, and sever a target's connection with the outside world. To be trapped within it was akin to being ensnared in an inescapable abyss. Seeing such a formation deployed against the purifying demonic lotus flame, everyone present finally understood just how far the Hall of Souls was willing to go. This was no mere contest for opportunity anymore. It was a battle decided by life-death and absolute domination. The atmosphere across the battlefield grew heavy and suffocating as all eyes turned toward the sealed demonic flame, waiting to see whether it would finally be subdued or erupt with even greater terror.